I'm pretty sure when you think of wine and goat milk soap, you think there are better things to do with your wine and goat milk than add a bunch of lye to them. But that's what I did. I'm really happy with how it turned out, except I had questions. When I added the lye, it turned the milk and wine this really gross brown and orange color, like you see right there. But I went with it because I was committed. So here we go. I use frozen goat milk from our goats. It's frozen solid. I use one big block, and it's perfect because it keeps the mixture from overheating if it's all frozen like that. When you're making soap with milk or with wine, it can overheat really easily. And when it does that, it'll scald the milk, which is kind of what started to happen in that corner that I showed you earlier where it was that dark color. So you just keep mixing it. Yes, it turns this really hideous color. I was really afraid of how it was turning out. It's also quite lumpy. And I thought a good solution for that was to attack it with my immersion blender. The problem with doing that is you introduce a bunch of foam. That doesn't degrade the quality of the soap or anything, but it does add a lot of air bubbles to your soap. So you'll see me mix with the immersion blender and then try to squish all the foam out. I don't know if that is a popular method, but it's my method. I'm always concerned about getting lye blobs in my soap, so I run it through a sieve. That introduces air as well. It aerates your batter just like when you turn on your kitchen sink and that little aerator in your faucet causes air bubbles. The same thing. Yeah, I'm probably fighting an uphill battle here, but it's Drunken Goat Soap. I mean, anything can happen, honestly. Squish, squish, squish. All right, so here are my oils, and here's my handy dandy sieve, and I am going to just pour this through here. This stuff is really thick. This is my lye and goat milk and wine mixture. It's super thick. The goat milk, I know, has a ton of fat in it, so I get lots of blobs, and I have to basically push everything through the sieve with a spatula. But that breaks up the chunks, and it keeps lye crystals from getting through, so I'm not super concerned if it adds a bit of air to the soap. Air bubbles in your soap are not a huge deal. They just give it kind of this textured look. So if you see a soap bar, you'll see in my pictures that it had some air bubbles in it. When you see that, it's totally fine. I think it's cute. And it's very natural. When you see soaps made by people who are really into super vivid colors, air bubbles will drive them batty. That is not usually part of their aesthetic. This is country soap, you know, down on the farm stuff, so air bubbles happen and I don't fight it. All right, my batter is coming together really beautifully. I'm super excited about it, except it's this gross tan color that I am not excited about. Oh well. I knew with the wine it would definitely discolor to a darker color. So I'm adding goat milk sprinkles, and this is shavings from my plain goat milk soap. And then I also have this confetti, which is from my cotton candy soap. So I add this to the batter so that when I pour the batter, it has all these really cool flecks in it of different colors. This blue and purple and white has this really sweet vanilla, almost, you know, sticky candy fragrance. It is so good. Don't eat it, no matter what you think. All right, so I just dump all of this in here, then I'm going to mix it together and pour it into my giant slab mold. And when I mix this, I don't turn the blender on. I'm just using that as a spoon because you can overmix it and it'll, you know, get really thick and hard to pour for you. This is perfect. I'm super happy with this. So I just pour it into the slab mold. I'm not a fan of the color. You know, adding wine to the soap is great. Wine has phenolic compounds that are great for your skin, so I like to use it in soap. And having the batter discoloration, that's just a, side effect that you kind of try to plan around. My thought with this was that it would probably come out kind of a light tan. This is yellower than I expected. Light tan with some confetti would be really cute. So I dumped it in here. This is fragranced with this fruity kind of fragrance oil and then kind of this country fair cotton candy fragrance, and the two mixed together. And so it smells kind of like, to me, a birthday cake with a bit of fruit filling, which is a good thing. I love it. It's something a drunken goat would probably want at their drunken goat party, which no goats were drunk in the making of this video. Because if you start letting your goats drink, oh my gosh, they will steal your wine every time. So I put a bunch of soap confetti on top, and this is all in these really pretty, blues and purples and whites and stuff, and I just think it's so much fun. It looks like a ticker tape parade on top of this soap. It turned out better than I expected, honestly. So all of the soap shreds that you see on top are also goat milk soaps. And I collect some shreds over time and then make a confetti soap. And confetti soap is like the best of all worlds. So I just love the confetti on top. And it's a mixture of goat milk soaps and wine soaps and a couple of different fragrances, some vanilla-y stuff, coconutty stuff, and of course that cotton candy fragrance. It smells so flippin' good. So yeah, I'm just kind of pressing everything in. Those rags, I'm trying to replace my paper towels with those rags because I go through way too many paper towels. It makes me crazy. Okay, this is the next day. Everything is set up. I'm super pleased with it. And I'm just going to kind of knock some of the topping off because I just want a nice bar of soap that's not going to shed a bunch of curls in transit or something like that. So here we go with the Unmold. I really want to see if it gelled. Yeah. So see that dark section towards the inner part of the mold? That is the soap trying to go through gel phase. It's not bad. It just means it's going to be a slightly different color than the soap on the outside. What I'm really excited about is that the browns that I was seeing earlier in the batter have kind of mellowed out, and now we have this creamy yellow, really pretty color, a lot like a birthday cake. I think it's so stinking cute. So yeah, we'll just pop this out of the mold. We're going to ignore the fact that I was so excited that I forgot to put gloves on. Please don't do that. Okay. Here it comes. Look at that. Nice and smooth and pretty. The color on top is of the bar. See that pale yellow is what it's probably going to dry to, I would guess. We'll check back in another couple weeks and see. Okay, so let's get this puppy cleaned up and ready for slicing. So I split the bar and then I run it through this to make nice even loaves. That's just a wire cutter, and then I take each smaller loaf and place it on my next cutter. This cutter slices it into bars. So it's just a bunch of guitar strings, and it's a little harder than it looks. It actually takes a bit of muscle to slice those up. And this is how it looks on the inside, little bits of confetti. So cute. So now it's ready to go. Love it. So I wanted to show you next the lather on this. Ignore my janky hands. I was trimming goats and I nicked one. I felt like such a jerk. So I have this blue spray that I spray because it's wet right now, I don't want them picking up all kinds of bacteria. So this stuff kind of seals it off, but also is an antibacterial. That makes it really hard to get off of your hands. So getting back to the lather, this is the bar. It makes a really fine lather, so you'll see tiny bubbles instead of big fluffy ones like in the goat milk soap. And I think it's a combination of the wine and the slightly different ratios of oils that I used in this soap. But it feels fantastic. It feels like silk. No, it won't take antibacterial hoof spray off of your hands, but if you have antibacterial hoof spray on your hands, you're probably like me and kind of don't care. So scrub, scrub, scrub. I do love the way it feels, though. That's just a really smooth, silky lather. There it is. I'll probably never make it as a hand model. Cool. So that's the Drunk Goat Soap. It's like a party in a bar.